All right. Morning wine cellar. I thought you might want to hang out and see the goddamn thing.
I'll give you until I finish my cuppa. And I'm fucking thirsty.
That's how much time motherfuckers got. How much time motherfuckers got?
I'll give you until I finish my cuppa. And I'm fucking thirsty.
All right.
I hope you're sure happy it's Tuesday. In the wine cellar.
WineCellarMedia.com.
Why are you trying
Father
to give me
Teresa's
laughs?
wine cellar is rated R for keeping it real.
This show is fucked up.
Oh, cool. I love stupid bullshit like this.
All right. And William J. Black ass motherfucker morning wine cellar. It is 3:18 a.m. Tuesday morning, October 2nd, 2018. Wrapped a 12-hour shift, should hit another 12-hour shift, and then follow that with a 14-hour shift, and then maybe a couple of 13s is what might happen. This is the probable possible, because you gotta work hard enough to be comfortably poor. That's the idea. You want to be comfortably poor. Patreon is confusifying, right? Because I think what it does is it counts patrons whose like maybe their banking information has changed or something, so their patrons don't their Patreon subscribership. Yeah, that's a word, subscribership. Their Patreon subscribership doesn't come through, but it counts them. But then at the end of the month, when the first hits, and then the payments come through for the one paid post for the month, it cuts it back down to just how many the payments processed. So I'm sitting there thinking like, all right, 49 Patreon patrons, so we'll be like, hey man, who wants to be number 50? Come on. And then the Patreon things come through and it says 45. Like, oh fuck. All right. And right now the Patreon is at 316 a month. Man, I tell you, that if that shit gets to 600, Phoenix Calida's got to quit that job. Right now, Phoenix Calida is out. All right, she is out. She has a histoplasmosis. All right, has to deal with wicked, wild inflammation around organs and whatnot in your body, and somehow, I don't know the science behind it, and because the for-profit motive, the medical community is not going to look up the science behind it because there's just no money in studying histoplasmosis. We're not going to know how stress causes these flare-ups of inflammation. And where she works is a church where she does the office work, and she and that church is right across the street from the white supremacist that purchased her as a child. They call it adoption, but when you give if you're a white person and you give another white person money and they give you a black child in exchange for that money, that's a purchase. And that's what McMurica was built on, not till you hook. Now, so Phoenix Calida is out, and I don't even know about these things going on, right? I live right here in this household, but I kind of live at the factory more. So yeah, there's co-pays and whatnot, and I saw some folks came through and hit up the PayPal. Like, that's actually what woke me up. Like, before about 15 minutes before my alarm went off, so many notifications, and the smart device does each notification twice. I was like, what the heck, darn? Oh, folks hit up the PayPal, so we're gonna get Phoenix Calida's copay knocked out. I don't really know the whole hospital doctor thing, but apparently there's a copay, and so I think I had to do that when I got stitches in my face. They had to crochet my face. And I had to, but I don't know how it works. I don't know why it exists, but fucking, somebody doesn't have a big enough yacht somewhere. All right. All right. So let's take a look at a little bit of the whatnot and the what have you. Phoenix Calida, show notes from Monday. House bill to vote on human trafficking bill that strengthens the Patriot Act. Spying in the Patriot Act, and that's off the that outlet Reason. Migrant children moved under cover of darkness to a Texas tent city. All right, that's going on. Phoenix Calida got that one out of the New York Times. Article put up by Caitlin Deckerson. In shelters from Kansas to New York, hundreds of migrant children have been roused in the middle of the night in recent weeks and loaded onto buses with backpacks and snacks for a cross-country journey to their new home, a barren tent city on a sprawling patch of desert in West Texas. Why are they migrant children? Right? Like I don't respect that choice of wording. And it's not the Caitlin Deckerson of the New York Times writing that, but that's the language. Migrant children. Really? The kids, they're making big plans. They're like, I'm gonna migrate. I'm gonna immigrate. No, they're not. All right, they're just children. They need not be prefixed. McMurka's evil and cruel and everything needs to be propagandified. Hell, I'm a propagandist myself. I'm a propagandist for calling children children. Right? They're not fucking migrant children. Like really? Are they fucking, they're loading up the suitcase? Hey, 6 years old, I'm gonna lead the fucking pack. Everybody come on. I'm a migrant child. Get behind me. Fellow migrant children. There's the individual Cleopatra Jones over in the archived chat space. Holy fuck, I did not trigger warning this one. Yeah, trigger warning if you've never tuned into the wine cellar before. Hell, we can do the shortest trigger warning audio. I think we already did it.
This show is fucked up.
Okay, that's the fact. All right, that trigger warning was short as if it was on a time limit. That makes you think,
I'll give you until I finish my cuppa. And I'm fucking thirsty.
Cleopatra Jones in the archive chat space talking about I got pro-child propaganda. This nigga be up at the same time as me. You work in a factory too? What else? Phoenix Calida had in the archive. Not archive, but Phoenix Calida's show notes that we couldn't get to yesterday because, again, I busted a 12-hour shift and the company is doing that thing again where they'll call a taxi cab for you, and I'm like, yeah, we'll save on gas money if the company pays for the taxi cab. That's a fair deal. But the taxi cab did not show the fuck up until about 7:15. So I'm on the shift from 6 a.m. and I don't leave the factory till 7:15, and that's just not enough time to do the physical show prep and get the episode done and get enough sleep for the next day. California is trying to get a little net neutrality going on there, trying to preserve a wee bit of net neutrality. And Jefferson Jim Crow Sessions, Jefferson Beauregard said, hell no, he filed a lawsuit against that there. That ain't right. All right. So Jerry Brown versus Jefferson Beauregard. This is a quote from Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III. Under the Constitution, states do not regulate interstate commerce. The federal government does. Once again, California legislature has enacted an extreme and illegal state law attempting to frustrate federal policy. The Justice Department should not have to spend valuable time and resources to file this suit today. but we have a duty to defend the prerogatives of the federal government and protect our constitutional order. From Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III. And Cleopatra Loco said, they're up at the time I'm up, chronically depressed insomnia. Jesus, ball sacking Christ. And I tell you, the privilege in me and my, and I guess what folks would refer to as my health, like that is, and when I say privilege, I unearned advantage. With my health, I have quite the unearned advantage. A reminder, many folks probably don't know, I've only been sick once, 1992, second time, 1999. After that, I food poisoned myself a few times. And I say I food poisoned myself because I knew what the fuck I was eating. Come on. Come on. All right. And taking a look over here, this is off the Bay Area Reporter. All right. And this is a very independent outlet. Like their tagline under their title, the Bay Area Reporter, says serving the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender communities since 1971. And I have the glaucoma, so let me go ahead. Right, I was just talking about my health privilege, and I got the glaucoma. So let me pump up the size of this text. Article put up by Matthew S. Bachko. I nailed it. Bachko. That's exactly how you pronounce that. Perfect. That motherfucker will be proud to hear this shit. And so he puts up this piece. A candidate is a target of a transphobic smear. So it's San Francisco supervisor candidate Matt Haney, and there is a now deleted post on a website Medium, which folks might know Medium, where you can see Cleopatra Jones put up that joint. Was it sexism is un-African? If the old Negro man remembers right. But on the Medium, this post put up by a group itself, the San Francisco Progress Alliance, Haney was called a, quote, I don't like saying these words, but this is the verbatim quote, called a closeted tranny. All right. And continuing the quote, I don't like to use this language. They say from assuming office. And the group described itself as an independent voice supporting Haney's opponents on race. And Haney's opponents, Christine Johnson and Sonia Tross, who are running together on a slate under the city's ranked choice voting system. The post uses various slurs against transgender people to describe Haney, and attacked him for using his position as a member of the city school board to appoint Mia Sata, a transgender woman, transgender woman, to a school district committee. So it's that whole if you associate with them, you must be them. You know, like one feller, I'm just asking him questions about his homophobia. And he's like, why are you fighting so hard? Yeah, nigga, you gay. And then just disengaged. He didn't even block me or anything. He fully just 100% disengaged. And archived chat space on the William J. Jackson Facebook. Cleopatra Jones in the archived chat space said, publishing part 2 soon. And that would be part 2 of Sexism is Un-African, which I need to check and make sure, because I do have help on the social dissonance page on the Facebooks, but the first one should still be the pinned post on the social dissonance, a critical analysis of justice page on the Facebooks. And Phoenix Calida's show notes that we get to yesterday because time exists. This off of CNN.com. California high school students line up to spell out a racial slur at senior picnic. There you go. That's how you do it. Come on. That's the freedom right there. I hate computer.
My initial reaction was just purely anger.
Just heartbreaking.
We've blurred the faces and most of the letters, but the picture clearly shows 9 students spelling out the N-word.
Whether it was malicious.
Okay, it's on their T-shirts, and then there's some students commenting on this CNN deal, and this young individual's name is Cade Pannell of the Escondido High School.
Or not, I don't think that matters. Whether
the N-word.
Whether it was malicious or not, I don't think that matters.
Nigga, whether it was malicious or not, nigga, you don't spell nigger. Nigga, you don't spell that shit on accident. Get the fuck out of here. Like, quit choosing to be naive, young man. You just graduated. You have a lot of pimples, and if you keep picking them, those are going to be lumpy pockmarks, and your life is going to be a little harder. Come on. So don't be naive on top of that.
Whether they thought it was a joke, it's not. And if you do think it's a joke, I think that's very ignorant of you.
Cade Pannell saw a video of it on social media and says he felt compelled to share it.
With me, it just really hurt me personally because my dad is black. He's raised me. I love him.
He graduated.
Okay, that nigga white passing his shit. That's one high yellow fella right there. Jesus Christ, my dad is black.
From Escondido High in 2017, along with his friend Jovan Pete.
Any context with that word in it, it's negative.
Jovan says the picture was taken during the annual senior picnic and photo day, where groups of friends wear shirts to spell out words for a class photo.
You can read, it's in the yearbook. You can read everyone's shirt.
But this picture was taken after.
I don't know if they wanted the limelight or if they were just doing it in a spontaneous moment, but either way, they got a reaction.
In a state.
And that's his less light-skinned friend, Jovan Pete. Yeah, so that's what's going on at the Escondido Union High School District. That confirmed 10 students at the senior event made a poor decision. Said, and this is a quote from the principal, Adriana Lepe Ramirez. They said, we are a campus that prides itself in inclusion and embraces diversity. Because that's how women with names like that in California talk. I guarantee goddamn to you. She continues her quote. She said, we will not tolerate actions that send messages of racism and promote divisiveness. End quote. During the senior picnic, the students of the North San Diego wear lettered shirts and are photographed spelling out words. Oh, okay, so it's a whole game fun thing. And one that they went for was nagger. And again, like, you can look this up. I've heard it on NPR clips that I've never found the time to dig up and share because they're always part of a long ass compilation. But like some of the most searched shit on the Google, which is Go Ogle, some of the most searched shit on there is nigger and nigger jokes. Like, that's what people are interested in. People are interested. It's 3:35 a.m. People are interested in necras and necra jokes. I tell you what. All right. And this is the last one from Phoenix Calida show notes on NBCnews.com. The whereabouts of 1,300 Missouri sex offenders unknown. NBC News got this off the Associated Press. Offenders must keep their information up to date and notify law enforcement when they move. There are nearly 16,000 registered sex offenders in Missouri. At St. Louis, the police fellers don't know the whereabouts of nearly 1,300 registered sex offenders in Missouri, including hundreds who fall into the most dangerous category, according to the state audit released Monday. If there's a most dangerous category, why are they released? If it's put out that they're likely to reoffend, why are they released? Why do I not just have a government job to kill them? Pay me $55 a year and I'll kill them. All right, continuing. Missouri law requires convicted sex offenders to register their names, addresses, and other information with their county law enforcement, most often the sheriff's department. The Missouri State Highway Patrol maintains a publicly available database. Offenders must keep their information up to date and notify law enforcement when they move. The audit released by State Auditor Nicole Galloway says that 1,259 sex offenders are unaccounted for, and about 8%, that is about 8% of the nearly 16,000 registered sex offenders in Missouri in general. And these are just the one thing about it. Sex offenders. These are just the motherfuckers that got accused, tried, and convicted. All right? That's not counting all the motherfuckers where the victim is, a hashtag why I didn't report. Those motherfuckers are everywhere, right? Think about that shit. Everywhere you go, every motherfucking where you go, you are standing near a man who is someone's why I didn't report story. Think about that shit. Think about that motherfucking shit, nigga. Continuing. And this is a quote from Galloway. And Galloway said, quote, the law requiring sex offenders to register has been on the books for more than 20 years to help keep our communities and especially our children safe. But if the law isn't enforced, it's not effective and public safety is compromised, end quote. The law took effect in 1995 and was updated this year to classify sex offenders into 3 tiers. The most dangerous sex offenders are listed as Tier 3 for offenses that include rape, sodomy, or first or second degree child molestation. Those offenders must register with local police every 90 days for the rest of their lives. Galloway said the audit found that at least 794 of the non-compliant offenders met the criteria for Tier 3. Failure to comply with registration requirements is a felony. The audit found that less than 10% of non-compliant offenders had an active arrest warrant against them. In addition to urging strong control at the local level, the audit cites a need for Highway Patrol to improve procedures for maintaining the database and for helping local police enforce registration requirements. The individual Galloway also encouraged the legislature to strengthen the state law to require background checks for school volunteers and allow her office to access all court records, because the background checks for school volunteers is already too weak, and they didn't see that as a problem before. That's the world you live in. All right, dadgummit. I think that's I really don't have much time. Gotta get ready to go down to the factory and bust another shift. I'm fucking training an 18-year-old who, like, in the context of ageism, if you will, is the stereotype of an 18-year-old suburban white kid. Holy fuck, this little shit is so goddamn annoying. His fucking breath stinks on top of that. Like, why does your breath have to stink? Really? You young person? Aren't you interested in hooking up with other young people? No, maybe. Might be asexual. Might be aromantic. I don't know. I need to get out of the kid's business. I don't like this kid. Before I go, one last one, and I think I might title the episode for this one. This was an individual named Lala Zanel, and Lala Zanel is a black queer transgender woman who takes the subway in New York City. She braces herself for harassment and heckling. She knows she could be killed for who she is, just as 21 other transgender McAmericans have been killed that we know of so far this year. Remember, misgendering makes it so we'll never know how many. And this is the title of the article put up on USA Today. This is how you stop violence against LGBTQ people, according to a prominent activist. Quote from Zanel: "It never gets any easier. It doesn't matter if I don't personally know them at all. It affects me as if I personally knew them, because I know that any given moment, I know that could be me. And that's my reality," end quote. Moving forward, for the past 6 years, Zanel has traveled around the country discussing ways to stop acts of hate because she wants LGBTQ people to be able to live their lives safely. As the lead organizer of the New York City Anti-Violence Project, an anti-LGBTQ violence organization, the 40-year-old individual speaks on issues from police violence against transgender people to the community's access to jobs. She organizes local forums on LGBTQ needs and develops policy recommendations for transgender housing. She has worked alongside celebrities and testified before Congress and at the White House about the traumas transgender people face. Zanel said she does not want people to remember the victims of violence against trans women as just another hashtag or statistic. Quote, "Anytime I get the chance, I try to humanize the lives of trans women and get people speaking their names," end quote. From the New York City Anti-Violence Project's 24-hour crisis intervention hotline, she trains volunteers and helps record reports of violence against LGBTQ and HIV-affected people. The team provides safety planning and counseling, as well as legal resources in local incidents. Instead of sending alerts about national slayings of transgender women, they now put together memorandums to uplift their stories. To speak up against anti-transgender violence, Zanel said parents should prepare their minds for their children to come out to them. Educators should teach diversity, and officers should respect transgender people. People should protect their transgender neighbors, and if they don't have a transgender friend, develop one. Before she began her job with the New York City Anti-Violence Project, Zanel was not as open about being trans, and she was not an activist. Quote, "That is what makes us human and a part of this earth. When we're making sure we're taking care of the earth, making sure we're taking care of our neighbors, making sure we're taking care of each other, and having those uncomfortable conversations," end quote, from Lala Zanel. All right. And on the way out, in closing, rest in peace to Rogelio Tavara. Pretty sure, if I remember right, one of the first Becky Lives Matter stories on this program was actually Rogelio, a video that individual put up on the Facebooks of their self being harassed by a powerful Becky, and Rogelio is dead now, just a few days ago. And all I could do was put up a post. We interacted at times, not very often, but always very fun, lighthearted interactions. Social justice-y and whatnot. All right. And I'm not saying right, him or she, or like I think Rogelio Loco was they, them, the homie Loco. Nigga. Yeah, Rogelio Loco was my nigga. All right. Rogelio Tavera. All right. So that'll be that. Morning wine cellar. Hey, 30 minutes. What are you gonna do, huh? 30 minutes is a short amount of time. And sometimes you only get a short amount of time.
I'll give you until I finish my cuppa. And I'm fucking thirsty.
PayPal.me/Phoenix and William. Patreon.com/Wine Cellar Media Fund. That Patreon sitting over there at $3.16 a month. We get that Father Mucker to 600, and I will adamantly request of Phoenix Calida to get the heck out of that job, because we don't know the science behind it, because the profit motive doesn't care. But stress has something to do with histoplasmosis inflammation flare-ups. Have a good one.